Here's Goodnight Olive making her move to take the lead by a head around the far turn. Race Kane has nearly 10 lengths to make up, so does Scooby Guando, verifying the leader. Top of the stretch, Tap It Trice is coming onto the outside. Up to the mark is running late behind Master of the Seas. Set piece down the center of the course. Master of the Seas alongside Annapolis. Here's Elusive Princess coming after Maj, and Mission of Joy tries to find room between that pair. Maj has the lead. Mission of Joy second, Elusive Princess third. The champ in front. Goodnight Olive chased all the way. Tap It Trice! Tap It Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
And a good Saturday night, everybody. Welcome into the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. I'm Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now, and we are getting set to preview day 13 of the fall meeting and Sunday, October 20th, the date. So we've got a 9-race card, including the Dowager Stakes. We thought going into the weekend that would be the headliner, and that's headlined enough with top distaff turfers going long, 1.5 miles there in the Dowager Stakes. But then today happened, and we had some chaos in some of the races, including the big upset in the Perryville Stakes with Brunacini at 28-1. Creating a 2-day pick six carryover. So really the headline story, as we not only talk about today, but look ahead to the racing for Sunday, are the carryovers that are offered on the card. Toyota Super High 5, the final race in the card, will be a $31,689 carryover. But the pick six, which will run races 4 through 9 on a 9-race card, beginning in race 4, the pick six carryover, $190,970. You can expect $2 million plus to be bet into this pool tomorrow, I would say, on a Sunday. So we're looking at probably, $2.2 million, something like that, in money up for grabs, I would assume, as we get into the pick six sequence tomorrow. So we will talk pick six tonight as we preview. We'll also just try to hit some winners. We had 4 of those today. Couple near misses, I tell you. We had the horse middle of the card for Chris Hartman, 9-1, one of our key plays of the day. Our first key play of the day scored in the turf sprint, and the second key play of the day, 9-1, just ran his eyes out and ran a really, really good second. And then in the last race in the card, we had the 2 long shot plays, one of which was 25-1, keyed in with the favorite. 4-way photo, and our horse ended up fourth, the worst of the 4 heads on the wire. But they ran well, but it could have been just an absolute boxcar kind of day today. Hopefully you got a little bit luckier on the finishes. We missed with just a little bit with a couple of our really big, nice price plays, but ended up with 4 winners on the card, but they didn't add up to a whole lot there. About a break-even day in terms of the ROI. But again, pick six carryover, the big talk about coming out of this card. But what did we see on the track on Saturday? Tyler Gaffalione, 3 winners. He was suspended Wednesday and Thursday for the Heisa whip violation. Came back on Friday with 2 winners. Saturday, 3 more for Tyler Gaffalione. So big day for him. 2 for Luan Machado. And Luan Machado had the misjudged finish line in the finale earlier this week, where he took a lot of criticism, rightfully so, for the mistake. But he came back with the I would say a vengeance, if you would, today in terms of his reputation. He got the big win in the Perryville Stakes aboard Brunacini for trainer Matthew Sims. Just 3rd career start for Brunacini, and won that stakes race over a really good cast. I mean, that was another one where, we were trying to get Epic Ride into the number, and he was right there again with the 3-way photo for second, but couldn't get there. Brunacini, the winner. What do we have in there? Man, I can't even read my handwriting at this point. We had the 2 favorites run right in there, second and third, of course. And then we got to Bookham Dano. I'm trying to read my abbreviation on my passport, on my sheet here, and it's so bad. It looked like Broken Arrow, but it's actually Bookham Dano was the horse I was trying to remember. And then, of course, Kingsbridge. Those 2 ended up running second and third. Dead heat for third with Epic Ride and also Kingsbridge. So all the horses we wanted to run well today did run. We just maybe had one better in a particular spot or two, but a couple big efforts there. And of course, in the Raven Run Stakes today, it was just as the public had it. Emery, an easy winner there at 6-5. My Wayne squeezed second as the second choice. In fact, the public nailed that race. The top 7 finishers in the Raven Run ran in exact betting order. So public doped that race out top to bottom in impressive style. Also 2 wins today for Irad Ortiz. And in terms of the trainers, a couple interesting notes here. David Jacobson picked up another win on the card today. That's brings him up to 4 at the meet, and his claimers are all running really well. He's got one in the second race coming up on Sunday. Another win today for Brendan Walsh, and another win today for Rudolph Brissett. So Walsh and Brissett are kind of the talk of the meet underneath Brad Cox, who's probably going to end up winning the training title. And Cox got his 4th stakes win of the meet today with the win by Emery. So he's not only had the top end horses, but he has the volume as well. But boy, what a meet for Walsh and Brissett. They really just keep doing it consistently. It seems like almost every day they're getting 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, and just having a really, really good fall meet. So that's a wrap of what we saw on the track for Saturday. As we look ahead to Sunday, sunny skies, 73 degrees in the forecast. Another fast and firm day of racing at Keeneland for day 13. Should be a good one. Again, the pick 6, 190,000 plus carryover. We'll begin in race number 4, but we're going to take you through the entire card. So let's give you a look at how the card lines up with our snapshot. As race number 1 will kick off the early pick 5. Second on the card will be the early pick 4. Remember, 9 races on the program for Sundays. Our first key play of the day comes up in race number 3. We'll also have key plays in 6 and 7. Turf pick 3 races on Sunday will be races 3, 6, and 8. So 2 of our key plays come up in Keeneland Turf pick 3 races. Again, that 190,000 plus carryover begins in race number 4. The late pick 5 is the swing race, the kickoff in race number 5, because it'll also end the early pick 5. So do a little extra work on race number 5. See if you've got a play in there, then you might be swinging through and around both the early and late pick 5. And who knows, you might be playing the pick 6 as well. Late pick 4 starts in race number 6. That's my second of 3 key plays. We'll have our third and final key play in race number 7. The Dowager Stakes will be the 8th, part of the Keeneland Turf pick 3. And then we wrap it up with the Toyota Super High 5 in the finale, 31,690 the carryover for that. Let's get right to the handicapping here and go to race number 1. Race number 1 on Sunday, on the 20th of October, is a $50,000 maiden claimer for the 2-year-old. This is a 2-year-old route maiden claimer in here. I'm going to go with the 7, No Pardon on top. Tom Leach also has that one. A couple others in here, 4 of 5. 4 of the 5 handicappers have different top picks in this particular race. The 1 gets a call, the 3, the 4, and then Tom and I both with the 7. No Pardon, the 7 by Nyquist, who's already sired 3 winners at the meet. Trained by Rudolph Brissett, who's just had a phenomenal meeting here. I think he's up to 6, 7 wins now. So give me No Pardon with Tyler Gaffleone, 5-2 in the morning line. I don't think we're going to get 5-2. I think this horse is going to get bet. The connections, as strongly as they're performing, I think this horse will take a little bit more money than 5-2. But I think No Pardon is the one to get us through the opener. The 1, Cat Pays the Toll, just like the unlike the 7, is dropping out of a maiden special. And the class droppers have really had an edge in these races historically in these 2-year-old maiden claimers. So the 7 has already been in for a tag and got beat. That is kind of a negative because the 1, Cat Pays the Toll, has never been in for a claiming tag yet. Now makes that first drop for Ian Wilkes. Showed a little bit of pace from a tough post at Kentucky Downs. Now draws the inside and should save all the ground. Cat Pays the Toll, a consideration in here. Cruz Chica coming off a second place finish at Churchill, already in for the maiden claiming tag though. So to me, 7 and 1 are the 2 ways to try to get in and out of this race. That's the way I'll look at it in terms of a win end. If you're looking for the pick 4 or the pick 5, or the pick 5, I should say, which starts there in race number 1. Speaking of the pick 4, I got ahead of myself. We go to the second race on the card, and that is where the early pick 4 will start. I thought this was a spread race. I've got 5 or 6 of them here that I'm giving a shot in this $20,000 maiden claiming sprint. 6.5 furlongs, the distance in this one. Let's see how the handicappers line it up. I thought it was, again, a race where maybe you could use as many as 6 of these, a real spread race. And the handicappers are spread as well. 4 of the 5 handicappers with different horses on top. The only repeat one is number 6, Not So Holy. That's my second choice. I've got the 12 Maestro on top, D-Day for Scott Hazelton, and the 4 Air It Out for Kim Nelson. We're all going a couple different directions in here, it seems. But for me, I went to the outside horse. I'll give you my case first for Maestro. By Candy Ride, it makes the big drop out of the maiden specials. Ran at Horseshoe Indianapolis and Belterra. We've seen the Belterra horses already run fairly decent here at the meet. Went behind a runaway winner who came back and won in Allowance Company next out, last out. So Maestro hasn't been in for the tag yet. Sired by Candy Ride. You know I love these Candy Rides over this track for the last 10, 15 years. I mean, it's been 10 years now, 11 years since we went back to the dirt. And in 2014, I guess 10 years, and the candy rides have just been performing over this dirt surface since that time. So I like Maestro in here, but not a very confident shot. 6-1 in the morning line. Also with the 6, Not So Holy, the 7-2 morning line favorite for a Brian Lynch barn that's had a good meet with limited starters. Yeah, that one's already been in for a claiming tag, but was claiming 50 and was pretty competitive at Ellis for 50. Ran a little bit and then backed up at Churchill when 10-1 for 50. Now this is 20,000. This is a different league in terms of the class drop here. So the 6, Not So Holy, should fit pretty well. But I thought this race, I've got on my past performances 12, 6, 8, 1, 3, 2. All horses that I have under consideration. So 6 of the 12 in here, to me, it would be a spread leg in the pick 4, pick 5. In the opening race, we were talking about using the 7 and the 1. In this race, we're going to spread and try to use quite a few. There are some chances to narrow this ticket if you're playing the early pick 5 a little bit later, as we'll get to. Let's go next to the third race on the program. Race number 3 is a 5.5 furlong turf sprint in here. Starts the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. You want to consider the also eligible horses if they happen to draw in here. The 13 and 14 both look live to me. Miso Spicy for Brendan Walsh, Tyler Gaffleone, first-time starter with some good pedigree. The 4, La Fantastica for Steve Asmussen, good past performance last time out at Kentucky Downs. I would think the 13 or 14 could play in this race if they were to draw in. But for me, this key play focuses around a horse who's really well drawn in here. Number 5, Glean, going to be my top pick. Also, Gabby's top pick. I'm surprised, though, not picked by some of the other handicappers anywhere in the top 3. Glean comes off a 5th place finish in the debut when battling up near the pace. That was for trainer Wesley Ward. This is a daughter of McKinsey who cost $450,000. They take the blinkers off that debut. She had a little bit of traffic trouble in that one, and she is absolutely drawn beautiful in a power post. You know, post 3, 4, and 5 are what we're looking for in these full field turf sprints. We had another click with that today. Again, it's just a real advantage for these horses who are well drawn in those posts. Shirley Ann, the 3 in here, has never run on the turf. The 4, Risky Wave, is a first-time starter. But I will say this, Rusty Arnold, trainer of Rusty Wave, the 4, got another turf win today with a young horse. He's got 3 of them at the meet on the grass. Rusty's horses are running, so a power post for the 4, Risky Wave, to consider. But you give me Wesley Ward with a horse in a power post like this who has a good race on the past performance line. I'm over Glean in here, and they've got to beat that one to me. 5, 7, and 8, the way I see it lining up. The 7, Lovely Emma, respect her, $600,000 twirling candy filly for Peter Urton. Urton pulled off a victory. Was it yesterday or today? He's got a win here recently in the last 24 hours or so. So he can certainly bring a horse from his California base and run well here in Kentucky. This one has been based in Kentucky. The 8, Cheetah Lady, definitely consideration off a second place finish in the career debut at Kentucky Downs, when clearly second best and best of the rest as the field was spread out behind her. So there are some other good options in this race, but that helps keep the price on the Wesley Ward horse, not like we're used to seeing on the Wesley Ward horses. I think we can get a fair 5-1, 4-1, 7-2 or so on Glean with a great post for Ward in a turf sprint. I'll take that all day and all the way to Sunday. And since it is Sunday, we'll just take that one right on top. So 5 over the 7, 8. I think there's some other options in here who could run underneath. The 3 and the 4, I think, out of those power posts. The 2's got a good-looking workout for Brad Cox. It's never easy down in the 1-2 spots, but those both runners look like first-time starters of some intrigue in here. The 10, No Mo Cookies, is a horse you could use underneath. But for me, it's about the 5, Glean, and I'm not going to get too tricky here because I think underneath there are a lot of different options for the exotics. I'm going to hope to get what I deem to be an overlay price because normally Ward in a turf sprint with a good post like this, I think your price kind of starts at something to 5. And we're going to actually get something closer to 5-1, I think. So Glean to me, just a straight up win bet in here, and look at possibly a rolling daily double as well, because I think in the next couple races, we're going to have ourselves some pretty short priced runners. We go to the 4th race next up, and race number 4 is where it's going to start. Again, a reminder, $190,970 in the pick 6 carryover, beginning in race number 4. 2-day carryover. Nobody hit the pick 6 on Friday or on Saturday. And as we start race number 4, it is the kickoff leg to the pick 6. This will be part of the early pick 4, also part of the early pick 5. And this is a race where we're all on the same horse, and I think we're going to look at a very short price favorite. Number 6, Mighty Madison, is 6-5 in the morning line. She's picked on top by all of the handicappers straight across the way. I think this is maybe the 4th time or so at the meet. It hasn't happened very often. It's going to happen in 2 straight races, coincidentally, on Sunday as you look ahead to the 5th as well. But Mighty Madison picked by all the handicappers in here. This is the Nyquist filly. We talked about how Nyquist has already had a lot of success at the meet. This is a filly who has run right up there at Saratoga, 2 head finishes, a head and a neck in her last 2. She really has not run a bad race except her one time at Keeneland. She did back up and run 9th at Keeneland, going around a mile and a 16th. That was the only 2-turn race of her career. She's run just dynamite around 1 turn. I'm not going to look at it that she didn't run well at Keeneland. She was up into the mix and then just faded. I think the fact is she's a sprinter, and she's doing what she's supposed to do here at 6.5 furlongs. You give yourself Irad Ortiz Jr., she's going to be right up into the pace. The 1 doesn't look very fast early. The 2's not very fast. 3 might show a tiny bit of speed, but doesn't look like a blazer. This filly's going to get over, get any spot she wants to the rail, and I think Irad Ortiz just takes her around there. Should be a short-priced winner. The 1, Navy Bell, second choice in here. The 8, Tap It Gently, off the layoff, and the turn back in distance could be effective getting first-time Lasix. She ran against some classy fillies down at Oaklawn this winter and spring. Levin Muffin, Torpedo Anna and company. That was a really good group down at Oaklawn, and she more than held her own. She's classy. I just don't know if she's 6.5 furlongs fast to beat these kind of horses, but Tap It Gently is going to run a pretty good one in here, I would think. 4, 1, and 8. She'll be passing horses late. 4, 1 is really kind of the exacta all the way around, and 4, 1, 8's the try for 3 of us. So not a lot of creativity in here. Let's try to get a daily double gleaned. Mighty Madison. I don't look at a double from race 4 to 5. I don't look intra race. I don't think race 4 is a great betting race other than starting off the pick 6. And I would just start off with the single. I know a lot of people are going to do that, but there'll also be a lot of people talk about the psychology of playing a multi-race wager, and they won't want to single in the first leg because they don't want to be knocked out right away. They want to, have the thrill of being alive. Well, it doesn't matter if you get knocked out in the first leg, the second leg, or the 6th leg by a nose. It all pays the same. It's all the loser, or you're up for 5 of 6 if you're playing a pick 6. So don't let the mental side of it creep into good ticket construction. If you think this filly is a favorite in Mighty Madison who won't be beat in race number 4, then she's a single if you're playing the pick 6. And to me, I don't see an alternative to beat her in here. I think she's going to win the race. I think she'll win it fairly handily. And I'll be singling her to start out the sequence. So race number 4, the way to play it, start off the pick 6 with the single. If you're looking not to play the pick 6 and that's not your kind of play, then I would look at a daily double race 2 to race 3, perhaps, or race 3 to race 4. To try to get in that way. We go to the 5th race, and this one's a little bit interesting to me as we start race number 5 being the swing leg of the early and late pick 5s. The interesting part here is, I picked Michaelicious at 7-2 in the morning line, a lukewarm morning line favorite, and I didn't think everybody would default and find the same horse, but we all did. So we're all on Michaelicious, surprisingly. Typically, when there's 5 across like this, it's a heavy favorite, like Mighty Madison, right? She's going to be a 3 to 5 shot. I think we all took the big favorite in the stakes race, Amory today. Those kind of horses like that. But Michaelicious isn't that big of a standout for all of us to fall on the same one. Now, the reason I like Michaelicious was the Oaklawn maiden special weight win. To me, is the co-best maiden win. These are non-winners of 2 lifetime. I talk about this. Who has the best maiden wins on their resume? The 4 are the 2 and the 6. Interlock Empire is the other one who's got an Oaklawn maiden special weight race on the resume as a victory. So I thought those were the 2 best maiden wins in the group. You've got some horses like Andy Can, who's 0 for 19. There's some big numbers in here on some of the horses who haven't won. To the outside, we've got a 1 for 14, a 1 for 15, another 1 for 15, and then that 1 for 19 for Andy Cant. So, the horses I'm thinking in here, the 2, the 4, and the 6, they've lost 10, 6, and 14 respectively. So they haven't been exactly shoe-ins either. So while this may look like a single, this is not a single in this particular spot. So even though we're like all picking the horse all the way across, and again, maybe psychologically you're like, okay, I'm going to use another one in that first leg because I don't want to get knocked out. So now what are you going to do in the second leg? That would make you like, the more you spend on races and overspend and drain your budget, the less money you're going to have for the races where you really don't have as strong of an opinion. And then you're really kind of leaving yourself open to coverage. So I honestly think in this race, the 2, 4, 5, 6 and race number 5 are all very playable. So despite the fact that it may look like a single based on everybody defaulting to the same horse. I think 2, 4, 5, 6 are all horses to look at in here as potential horses to use. And again, many of these have run up big losing streaks. So how do you trust any of them in here? Maybe if you just had to have a trust factor, maybe the 4 is the one you kind of, if you had to single a horse in this race, and it's not even my top pick, but if you had to single a horse in this race, it would be the 4. Kent Sweezy's had a good meet. He goes to Irad Ortiz in here. This is a horse who's only had 6 starts. And when you talk about all these other horses being 1 for 6, all these other horses who are 1 for 10, 1 for 14, 1 for 19, 1 for 15, Cat on Time belongs in this condition. After 6 races, there's no shame in being in a non-winners of 2 lifetimes. So if you had to pick one out, and at 8-1 in the morning line, maybe the 4 is where you would settle in here and make a potential gutsy single with Cat on Time. I think Michaelicious is, the top play in here for me. But if you had to just pick one, I don't really trust the 2 enough after 10 starts to say that I would definitely put him over another. And you're going to get a lot of knockouts if you get the 4 in here, Cat on Time at 8-1 in the morning line. But the Sweezy horses, I think, are kind of sneaky and they're running well. And I think the public's going to bet this horse down a little bit more. So 8-1 may not be the price that we're looking at in race number 5. Moral of the story, I think you need 4 of them in here, 2, 4, 5, and 6, the way I would go at it. And just try to get through that leg. That's a little bit tougher than it looks just in the handicapper selectors box. Let's move on to race number 6. We've got one of our key plays here, second of 3 key plays. Also, second leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. We'll kick off the late pick 4 in this race as well. A note that the 16 off the also eligible list, certainly one you'd want to consider. I didn't use the horse in my selections, but if Random Harvest gets into this race for Jimmy Toner off a really nice debut win, you'll want to consider the 16 into your selections. But the way I looked at this race, the outside horses look to have a lot of speed in here. The 11 and the 12 have speed and have to go out of this mile race. Short run into the first turn in the turf mile. I think that's going to quicken the pace. We talked about the impact of having speed either far inside or far outside. We got 2 of them on the outside here that just have to go in the 11 and 12. So I think that's going to set up for a closer, and that's why I ended up in here with the 4 Haystack. That's going to be my top choice. Haystack's got a good finishing kick. Last time out was going a little shorter than her best trip in the stakes race at Laurel when she only got beat a length. She closed 10 lengths that day. But her previous races going a little bit longer. She's got a good late run to her. Irad Ortiz, upgrade to the jockey here. 2 starts at Keeneland, has a win and a second place finish, but 1 for 16 lifetime. So Haystack's not the kind that often gets there for the big ring. I think this race sets up for the 4. I would definitely use the 4 as my top play in here at 9-2 in the morning line, but not one that you would be confidently putting in some sort of single situation, if you will. 3, 4, and 5 all get top calls in here from the various handicappers. The 3 Leo Toro is one who I think just kind of runs a little flat on the back end of the races. In the off-the-turf race at Indy finished, but in every other start has given ground in the stretch. I'm not sure Leo Toro is going to finish the job in here at the mile. And again, with that pace out of the 11 and 12 hole, I think they're going to get drug along pretty well here. I think you want to find a finisher in here if you can. 4, 5, 7, 8, the way I lined it up. The 5 for Cherie DeVoe had a terrible post last time in Ellis, rallied to win that. Cherie's horses are running big. This is a Justify filly. You know I love the Justifies on this turf course. The 7, Irina's Charm, is also a Justify. So 4, 5, and 7, all from well off the pace with good pedigrees, connections, jockeys to kind of play in here. And then the 8, Big Trouble, also makes some sense. But I think the 8's going to be a little bit close to the pace. Maybe the 8's not one you use. If you're going to pick one of the speed horses to hang around, the 8 would be the one I would pick under Frankie Dettori. But I'm not so confident that you would have to use a speed horse in here. I think taking 3 closers might be the way to get through it. 4, 5, and 7 for me are the 3 best closers in here. The 8, Big Trouble, if you're with a budget and could throw another horse in, he would be the one who's the best of the speed horses to me in this big field of 12. And again, also eligible, number 16, Random Harvest, gets into that mix. You would have to absolutely use the 16 if the 16 draws into this race. So be sure to check out our updates. I will be sending out tomorrow morning after scratches and changes every day on the racing season here at Keeneland. I send out a Substack email that gets my updated picks. So again, if a horse like that draws in off the also eligible list, I'll note where this horse moves into my thinking. If we have any scratches or changes in the horses that we have picked, how we adjust those, we do all that through Substack. So sign up. It's free. Go to jeremyplonk.substack.com. A lot of new signups this meet, so we appreciate that. But check that out. And again, I will send that after scratches and changes. So around 11:30 each morning is when we're getting the scratches, around 11 until we make adjustments. Some days we've had more scratches than others. Depends how long it takes to kind of rework and recalibrate our thoughts. I usually have some if-then scenarios kind of in each of my races, so it doesn't take as long to adjust, but we have to just see who ends up in and out of these races after scratches in some cases. So we talk about race number 7 next on the card. So let's go back to the snapshot here where our third key play of the day comes up in here. In race number 7, key play in here is going to be number 7. I'm against the favorite in here, so that's why we're trying to knock off the chalk. The 9 Hero Status is one I'm against in here, coming in from California. I'm going to toss this one because Hero Status ran once at Keeneland and ran a terrible race. So I'm thinking this horse may not like it here at Keeneland. Back at another route distance, there wasn't any real excuse to get beat 25 lengths here back in April. So that was April of 23, but Hero Status for me is going to be a toss. And that kind of gets me into that. Okay, if we can get the favorite out of here, maybe we can get ourselves a decent payback. The 7, Call Me Fast, 9-2 in the morning line is going to be my top choice in here. Let's see how the other handicappers line up in the 7th race. Call Me Fast also picked on top by Scott, second by Gabby. On the board there for Tom and Kim. So this is going to be a logical horse who's part of the mix with everybody. But again, if we're against the favorite, maybe a good second, third choice. Call Me Fast. Joe Sharp having a great meet. Tyler Gaffleone just out in front and riding tremendous right now. And Call Me Fast has run really well here at Churchill. A little bit of a disappointing effort last time, but that was on the turf, going 6.5. Back to a route on the dirt for the first time in a while. This horse ran second in the Ben Ali back here in April of 23. Likes going long on the dirt at Keeneland. Good record, good workout for this. Give me the 7, Call Me Fast, as one of my key plays of the day. I've got the 5 and the 11 underneath, Gunno and Raise Cane. Other horses who either have great pedigrees to run here at Keeneland, like Gunno, or has great record here at Keeneland, that being Raise Cane. Of course, we saw him win the Perryville about a year ago this week at Keeneland. So this is a horse who likes the track here. So give me the 7 over the 5-11, and we're going to try to hit some of the exotics in race number 7, tossing the favorite. So Exactus, 7 over the 5-11. We might look at some tries, 7 with 5-11 in the third spot. But if we can get this one in, it'll be one of our key plays of the day in race number 7. And also, again, because we have key plays in back-to-back races, not a bad shot to take advantage of that low takeout 15% daily double at Keeneland. Races 6 and 7 with back-to-back key plays on the card. This could be a spot here where you go after this daily double in the 6th and 7th races with our top choices. That would be Haystack in the 6th and then Call Me Fast in the 7th. I am going to single Call Me Fast in the 7th race for pick 6 purposes. So right now, the 2 singles for me would be races 4 and race 7. 4 and 7 would be the 2. The 4 is a very low price type single. In race number 7, I think we're on a horse who's second or third choice that we'd be willing to single. Let's go next to the 8th race on the card. It's the featured Dowager Stakes. The Dowager at $300,000 purse, grade 3. Fillies and mares going 1.5 miles on the grass. It also is the final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. In the Dowager Stakes, as we look at the handicappers across the way, surprisingly, top choice in here for both Gabby and myself. Eternal Hope picked on top for Tom Leach. Chop Chop, who won the spring race here. The Bewitched, the counterpart in the spring to this. That's Kim's top pick to get the season sweep. And Nisa Marie, the Parks-based runner who won last out at Kentucky Downs for trainer Butch Reed. Top choice in here for Scott Hazelton. So surprisingly, Chop Chop, Nisa Marie, you see those names across the way pretty frequently amongst the various handicappers in here. So also the 9 Eternal Hope in here for Tom Leach. He's on the island here with Eternal Hope, a horse for Charlie Appleby and Frankie Dettori, coming out of the Flower Bowl in the Glens Falls at Saratoga, certainly coming out of some big time races. I thought the Flower Bowl this year was a weaker renewal of that race than what we're used to seeing. But nonetheless, any of these Saratoga good turf horses during the course of the summer are going to fit and play well here at Keeneland in the fall. Nisa Marie's coming off maybe a career best effort last time out. She's 6 for 14 lifetime, and I tell you, she ran really well in the ladies marathon. Coming out of the Beverly D, where she ran decent behind Moira and Fev Rover. She caught that field in the ladies marathon at Kentucky Downs and really took to the course there and drew off late, looking good. Joelle Rosario in town to ride. We have not seen Joelle at Maybe we saw him once or twice opening weekend, but we have not seen Joel much at this meet. In fact, I don't think we've seen him at all. It'll be the first time Joel Rosario named on a horse this meet at Keeneland. In fact, so 3-1 morning line favorite Nisi Marie. I've got respect for the 12, but I like the 6 in here. Surprisingly, Irad rides for Todd Pletcher. We talked about the quality of those Saratoga summer horses. The Boston Spa was only a mile and a 16th. She ran 4th in there. But Buta Cache, Gina Romantica, the kind of filly she's been running against, Didia going back to the New York Stakes, McCulloch back in the Orchid Stakes when she ran this mile and a half at Gulfstream. I thought surprisingly he has the best company lines of any horse in this race. She's run against the classiest runners consistently throughout her running lines. And while she's typically, second, third, fourth in these races, I think she catches a field where she might be the top one in here and be a fair price. So the 6, surprisingly, it's 6-1 on what looks to be a class drop to me, frankly, based on what she's been running against. Plenty of respect for Chop Chop. She won a similar race, like we said, here in April. She would be no surprise to get Brad Cox a 5th stakes win of the meet here at Keeneland. I believe he's got 3 grade 1s, and no, the Phoenix was a grade 2. So 2 grade 1s, a couple grade 2s after today, 2 and 2 each for Brad Cox, and he'll try to get a grade 3 here to add to his fistful of stakes wins at the meet. But give me the 6, 7, 12. I would use all 3 of them in the pick 6. Beyond that, I'm not going to go any deeper than that. I think 6, 7, 12 will get us through this spot. But if Eternal Hope, if you get a good case made for that one to include the Godolphin runner and Frankie Dettori, you could talk me into that. 6, 7, 12, 9. You're going to increase the price of your ticket by 25% by adding one horse from going 3 deep to 4 deep, because when you multiply out each race, how many horses you use in each race, instead of multiplying by 3, you're going to multiply by 4 in that spot by just adding one more runner. So your ticket's going to go up by 25%. If it was a $100 ticket, it's now a $125 ticket. So, you have to decide that with what your budget is and how much you really like a horse, whether or not you're going to throw them in or not. But I would say 3 deep, maybe 4 deep, depending if you can single in some other spots or narrow in some other spots for the Dowager Stakes. But certainly not a race that I just lean on 1 or 2. I think there are some quality options in that race to go after. 9th and final on the card, our Toyota Super High Five race, $31,690 in the carryover. $30,000 maiden claiming 2-year-olds in this particular race. We've got Vekoma and McKenzie represented in here. They've been the sire of sires of 2-year-olds this year for the first crops. Vekoma's got the 6, Coaster to the Moon. You've got McKenzie represented by the 3, Sell It. So a good-looking group of pedigrees in this particular spot, but I'm not going to go for a pedigree play in this particular one. I'm going to the outside 12, Banks, a first-time starter who I think's here for interesting reasons. And we'll make the case for Banks in just a moment, but there are several in here that I think are viable to use. The 12, the 4, the 9 are part of my top 3. I also think the 6 and the 3 could certainly get an argument made for them. So 12, 4, 9, 6, and 3. This could be one where you're as many as 5 deep in here, and maybe you have another opinion. If we look at the other handicappers across the way, that's not even including Pray for the Bear. Top choice in here, the 8 for Kim. So if you like the 8 in here, you might even be deeper than what we're talking about. But 12 Banks will be my top pick. It's Brittany Russell, high percentage trainer, top barn at Laurel Park in Maryland. She brings this one in from the Fairhill Training Center. Instead of running at Laurel in a maiden race, they're coming to Keeneland. It's a 30,000 maiden running for 53,000. So it's a big money shot in there. And she's able to get Irad Ortiz to ride. They don't team up that often. They've had 12 tandem starts over the years. Or over the last 2 years, and she's pulled out 4 wins with Irad. Or 3 wins, I should say, 25%. I like this jockey trainer combo, and I think it's interesting because if this horse was just okay, I would think that Banks would be running at Laurel Park. So we're bringing this one all the way to Keeneland to run in a maiden 30. But again, $53,000 purse. That's as big as running in the Mid-Atlantic in some maiden specials. So. And she probably feels like they're not going to claim this horse. It was a $7,000 auction purchase by Outwork. If they claim for 30 and they were able to get a win here, and with a $50,000 purse, they'd be getting out with over $60,000 on a colt that cost $7,000 gelding. That cost $7,000 at sales. So I think it's a chance to win here. And actually, if they could win this race, any of the horses win this race for a maiden 30, you could be eligible for some pretty good starter allowance type races moving forward. So this might be a slick move to get Banks eligible to run in some other races back in the Mid-Atlantic then by running for 30 at Keeneland. It could be a good maneuver there for future earnings for that runner. The 4 in here, All the Luck. Safi Joseph takes over for Maria Bowersock, who had this horse at Colonial in Virginia and ran pretty well no matter the surface. I think the 4 is a factor in here. Tyler riding for Safi Joseph. Anybody who plays Gulfstream in the winter knows the strength of that combination. They hit over 26% together according to the form. So 12, 4, 9, 6, 3. I think you can go 5 deep here in the finale. Not a huge confident play on Banks in the last race, but I just think this is a horse who's here for some pretty good intentions. Otherwise, we'd just see this horse running at Laurel Park. Okay, that's going to wrap up our preview for the Sunday card, day 13 of the meet, October the 20th. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I know you've got Kentucky football going on against Florida tonight. All kinds of great sports on the dial. Maybe you're tuning us in on Sunday morning before the card starts. I want to wish you best wishes on the card on Sunday. I'll be back Sunday morning with the final preview of the races on social media. Follow at Horse Player Now or at Keeneland Racing, and you'll be able to see those late updated previews. They usually come out between 10 and 10:30 in the morning, and also some key daily double plays I send out on social media on X each morning as well. And again, sign up for that Substack if you didn't catch the address earlier. Here that is, and I will get you email information each racing day at Keeneland. And also with Breeders' Cup coming up, there's going to be a lot of good Breeders' Cup information coming across the Substack and then into Triple Crown season as well. So not just for the Keeneland final 4 or 5 days of the meet here, but we get you information on Substack each week throughout the course of the racing year. So be sure to sign up for that. That'll do it for week 3 of the meet for the Keeneland Look Ahead previews. We'll be back Tuesday night in this same time slot, 8:30 Eastern, when we preview the Wednesday card. A reminder, 4 days of racing will be the final week, Wednesday through Saturday. So counting Sunday tomorrow, the days we're previewing right here, we've got 5 days of racing left for Keeneland for 2024. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll talk to you on Tuesday evening.